could see how beautiful other side of the river was when all the lights were on. And I'm sure you noticed there was a huge building standing on top of the hill on other side of the river, which building is the Royal Castle. And that area where we have the Royal Castle, this is the oldest section of the Hungarian capital. So of course you have to be taken there. So when we go to the other side of the river, to Buda side, we will make a stop on top of the hill, and we will take you for a lovely walk in the castle district in the oldest section of the Hungarian capital. So during the tour we will get off the bus only once in this old section of the capital. So ladies and gentlemen, one very important thing I should tell you, it is that the boat which we left behind is not staying here. Most probably you know, the boat will go to a country town, Visegrad, and this is where we will meet the boat. After finishing the tour of the capital, we will take you there to the town Visegrad, where you will see your boat. Okay. You know, when you are in Rome, do as the Romans do. When you are in Budapest, for those couple of hours that you spend in the Hungarian capital, call us the right way, Budapest. Budapest, the capital of Hungary, got a population close to 2 million. Close to 2 million Hungarians are living in Budapest. Total population of Hungary is close to 10 million, so it means approximately 1/5 of the whole population of the country is living in the capital, in Budapest. Due to the high population of the capital, and due to the central location of this town, because Budapest is located practically in the heart of the country, Budapest could easily become the center of the life of the country in every respect: cultural, educational, commercial, and administrative center of the life of the country is here in the capital, in Budapest. The Andrássy Avenue was built in order to provide a picturesque connection of the downtown, this is where we are now, and the Hero Square, this is where we are heading for. The Andrássy Avenue is approximately 2 kilometers, a bit more than 1 mile long, and most of the buildings along the avenue are apartment buildings, very beautiful apartment buildings. But after your first time to be here in Budapest, you will fall in love with the Hungarian capital, so you will decide to come back to Budapest, and in that case you have to know where it is advisable to come next. So, ladies and gentlemen, Octagon is the name of this intersection where the Andrássy Avenue, where we go along, and the Grand Boulevard cross each other to the left and to the right. When you look, you can see the Grand Boulevard. Both the Grand Boulevard and the Avenue were built at the same time at the end of the 19th century. But as you see, ladies and gentlemen, we are approaching to another important building. Look straight ahead. On left side of the street, you will see the gray building, which got the black frame around its walls. In the black frame, you can read the word terror, you can see the arrow cross, and you can see the 5-pointed star. This building is the House of Terror Museum. Today it is closed. Monday, all museums are closed in the capital. So, continent. Originally, we, the Hungarians, who call ourselves Magyars, we were living at the European slope of the Ural mountain chain, which mountain chain separates Europe from Asia. So on the European slope of this mountain chain, the Hungarians, the Magyars, had their first home, which they left in the year 896. The same year, they got to this part of the European continent where Hungary has been existing since this time, which they found so nice that they decided to settle down here.
Well, here we are at Hero Square. It features the heroes of Hungary that have made the difference in their country over the years, and there's 14 different statues.
In the background of the square, under these semicircular colonnades, in chronological order, there are 14 statues altogether. You must remember, you were told the first king of the Hungarians was Saint Stephen. So look to the left, the king, which or the statue which has the twin cross, the apostolic cross in his hand. It depicts our first king, Saint Stephen. Whenever you will see a depiction of Saint Stephen, and very often you will see depictions of this first king of the Hungarians during our tour. So whenever you see a depiction of his, the twin cross, the apostolic cross, is in his hand. It is because Saint Stephen converted the pagan Hungarians to Christianity, and it was such a great deed of the king that he behaved like an apostle. That's why the twin cross, the apostolic cross, is a kind of an attribute of our king. But now left again to the column where you can see the statue of Gabriel, Archangel. As you were told, in the right hand of the statue of Gabriel there is the crown, which symbolized that Hungary was a kingdom from the beginning of the 11th century up to the end of the First World War. So practically for 918 years we had royalty in our country. In the other hand of the king, in the other hand of the statue of Gabriel, the twin cross can be seen, which twin cross symbolizes that Hungary has been a Christian country since the beginning of the 11th century. It was a kind of a victory of a small nation, which small nation could show the whole world. Doesn't make any difference how small, how weak you are, you still need freedom and independence. But let me tell you that after the breakdown of this revolution, Hungary became a very sad place. Gloomy years, as we said, gloomy years were waiting for the Hungarians. First of all, because following the breakdown of the revolution, approximately 200,000 Hungarians left the country. Doctors, students, professors of universities, engineers, lawyers, journalists, opera singers, excellent skilled workers decided to leave the country. They went to West European countries, Scandinavian countries. Sweden, Norway welcomed many Hungarian refugees, but most of the refugees, 10,000s of Hungarians, went to United States, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, South. The first step towards a better life for this nation was made in 1963. This was the year 1963 when a general amnesty was provided for those who were in prison. Then they opened the border, not exactly opened the border, but after 1963, people could have the hope to get a passport to go to West. It was not easy to get a passport. Of course, people had to be lucky, very lucky to get a passport. After a long procedure, people could get those passports, and only in every third year they could go west. But at least people could have the hope that after a while they can go out of this country to see what kind of a life goes on or went on in the western part of the European continent and in the western part of the world. Gradually, the tension in Hungary got less and less. More and more freedom was provided for the people. People could have private property, which was limited, but people could have it. Doctors, lawyers could have private practice. So the life in this country got gradually better and better. This is why Hungary got the title, the happiest barack of the communist camp. It doesn't mean the life in the communist Hungary was perfect, but comparing to other countries within the communist bloc, the life in Hungary was quite good. Gradually, the years, the decades went on, and the life in Hungary got easier and easier, and this is how it could happen that in 1988, it was on 1st of January, that the opportunity to get a passport was provided for all Hungarian citizens. They opened the border to West, to Austria, to the western border of Hungary, and Hungarian citizens could go out as often as they wanted. It also tell you in the Jewish quarter there are kosher shops available for the religious Jews. We have even a kosher pastry shop here. There is a kosher butcher, and of course a couple of kosher restaurants are available in the Jewish quarter of Budapest. Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you that very soon I will have the opportunity to show you two of those synagogues which we have in this Jewish quarter. You will see very soon the white building with the dark dome on the left side of the street. Look straight ahead, and very soon you will see the Heroes Temple, the synagogue built in 1932-33. The two synagogues here to your left, you can see the Dauphin Street Synagogue, and previously the white building with the dark dome was the Heroes Temple. So next time when you come with the Viking as well again, then you know already it's just a short walk from the place where Viking ships stand to walk to the Saint Stephen Basilica, which is a gorgeous place. You must remember I would go to the Opera House as well. As you were told, the Opera House is one of the most beautiful opera houses of the world. Then in your place I would go to the bookstore as well, because it is a very beautiful bookstore. Not only the great collection of the books is what attracts the people, but also the beauty of the bookstore makes this place a very attractive place. In your place, I would go to the Széchenyi thermal bath as well to spoil the body a bit. After visiting the museum, it's advisable to rest a bit, so why not to go to the Széchenyi thermal bath? And after visiting after being for a while in the Széchenyi thermal bath, in your place, I would go to the Gundel restaurant. You know the place which you have to see, as they say, before we die. We have to go there. But now, ladies and gentlemen, let me ask you to have a look to your right. I am sure all of you remember this is the avenue, the Andrássy Avenue, where we went along just a couple of minutes ago. When you look, there can be seen the Saint Stephen Basilica again. You were told this is the largest ecclesiastical building in the Hungarian capital. It was built from the middle of the 19th century up to the beginning of the 20th century, so the construction works of this church last for more than 50 years. Accident took place during the night. This is how no one was hurt, but you can imagine after this accident practically the whole work had to be started from the very beginning. That's why the construction works last for more than 50 years. As you saw, this dome was made well, so you can easily say, yes, the second dome was made well. You are only partly right. The second dome was really made well, but the dome you could see is already the third dome of the building, and it is because of the Second World War. In the Second World War, Budapest was bombed a lot, and one of the bombs fell on the dome, which caused the collapse of the dome. Somehow I got the feeling St. Stephen Basilica is not very lucky with its domes, because there were already 3 domes built for this building, but I'm optimist by nature, so let me tell you, it was not only the 3rd dome to build for the Basilica, but also the last dome of it. Let me tell you also, in connection with the St. Stephen Basilica, that on the high altar of this gorgeous building, there is a beautiful white marble statue which depicts Saint Stephen, the first Hungarian king. And the location of the statue seems to be quite strange for those who know how strict the Roman Catholic religion is in connection with those high altars. But you have to know there was a great demand in Hungary by the people to place the statue of our first king on the high altar, and of course we had to ask the permission of the Pope, and of course the Pope gave his approval to the idea, because he knew very well that Saint Stephen did a lot for Christianity when he converted the whole Hungarian nation to this religion. This is how we could place the statue of the king on the high altar. But ladies and gentlemen, let me ask you to look straight ahead. There is a beautiful building which stands at the end of this street. This building is the Hungarian Parliament.
Our buses are passing a memorial out here on the river. It's called Shoe Memorial. What we're seeing is a group of shoes laid out across the edge of the river. It represents an event that happened in World War II when the Nazis marched the Jewish citizens out here and had them take their shoes off and gunned them down into the blue Danube, which ran with red blood at that time. It's a very moving experience. We're reminded that we were told this should never happen again and we should never forget Yet today in 2014, 2015, we have been witnessing atrocities at the hands of Muslim terrorists who have done much the same thing in a more gruesome fashion. It certainly has affected each of us on this bus, as you can see.
Ladies and gentlemen, straight ahead when you look on the other side of the bridge, there can be seen the Gellert Hill. At the slope of the Gellert Hill, there is the monument depicting Gellert Bishop, after whom the hill got its name. Gellert Bishop was a martyr of Christianity who was executed at the place where his statue was erected many hundred years after this execution. To the right, when you have a look for a second, the chain bridge, the first permanent bridge of the Danube River, can be seen. You know, this is the bridge which stands at the place where previously your ship was standing as well. Have a look to the left, where at the foot of the hill a building complex can be seen. The oldest section of the building complex is the one which got the dome on its top. This oldest section was built in the 17th century. It was built by the Ottomans, by the Turks. This building complex is a thermal bath, again called Rudas, and the two sides of the Danube River are connected by 11 bridges. Two of those you know very well, the chain bridge, this is where your ship was standing, and the Elizabeth Bridge, the white bridge which we took as we came from Budapest to Budapest. Have a look, ladies and gentlemen, to your right for a second. On the top of this short hill, which we call Castle Hill, stands the building, the Royal Castle, the residence of the Hungarian kings for hundreds of years. This is the Castle Hill where we are heading for. So in a couple of minutes we will get to the top of the hill, where we will be dropped, and then we can make an orientation walk together. Then after this short orientation walk, you are going to be taken to the Matthias Church. So we will visit the inside part of this beautiful church, which is the oldest church of the capital. And after our tour together, you will regain your freedom and you can be on your own in this oldest section of the Hungarian capital. You can take walks, you can explore this old part of the capital, which we call Castle District. Let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, that the place where the bus will drop us will be the place where the bus will come back to pick us up. So it means that all those belongings of yours, what you do not want to take with you when you get off the bus with me and when we go to explore the castle district, all those belongings you do not need, you can leave on board of the bus because our driver Joseph will stay on the bus. But let me also recommend let me recommend you not to stay on the bus. Sometimes people want to stay on the bus while we are out. Don't do this, because the bus will go to a parking lot where the driver cannot use the engine, and therefore instead of staying on the bus, which will get cool after a while, I could recommend, even those who do not want to take the walk with us, I could recommend those to get off with us and to go to the first cafe which we have in the castle district, where you can sit down and wait till you will have to be back to the bus. Straight ahead, ladies and gentlemen, when you look, there can be seen the chain bridge. You know, it was the first permanent bridge built between Buda and Pest. 1849 was the year when the bridge was inaugurated. Those many stairs which lead to the top of the castle hill. Do not worry, we have a very good driver and a very good bus. So, of course, you are going to be taken to the top of the hill.
Our bus is approaching Castle Hill. When we get to the top of the hill, you will notice that St. Matthias Church is very prominently situated up here. It's the oldest church in Budapest. Look at the dome and the architecture, how beautiful it is. And the detail of the steeples, and it's extraordinarily intricate with its design. And looking across the square at the tourist out there, you see the statue of St. Stephen. We talked about him earlier. It's a great view up here in Castle Hill, and look at this portico up here. As I walk down this portico and look out across the river, we're looking down at the Parliament building on the other side of the river, seeing it in the daylight. I, as you know, caught it in the evening, which is really extraordinary with the lights on it. But as we get ready to leave Budapest and we see this statue that looks out across the river, we look back at a wonderful time here and know that we have to come back and see it in more detail.